Welcome back to Reclaiming Your Mind with Catherine Newton in Relational Healing. This is week number 18, and it's a very important week. And it's specifically for those that are struggling with their faith and also people that are just feeling a little bit uneasy about integrating faith into your healing process. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my faith walk and how it has impacted my healing from childhood trauma. So I was raised in an extremely religious home, but it was spiritually abusive. One of the examples I give people that just kind of says it all is that we weren't allowed to have anyone come over to our house on Sundays to play because it was the Lord's Day. And so one time some neighbor kids came over to ask us to come out and play. And my father went into an entire rage, and he took a spoon and he threw it across the kitchen, and it bounced in the sink and shattered the window behind the sink. And then my sister and I both got beat with yardsticks. And so what that taught us is that God is an angry God. That, you know, the minute you step out of line, and even when you don't do anything wrong, you may still get punished. And so that's the message that we got over and over, mixed together with daily Bible reading, daily devotions, my father laying on the floor with the Bible open every time he had a chance. So, you know, he was definitely giving it his best shot. He thought he was doing the right thing. But what he ended up doing is driving my sister and I completely away from the church. And as soon as I got a chance to run, I did. And so I was saved and baptized at 9. But as soon as I got a chance to run, I did. And I was out the door. So from 14 to about 26, I had a season of destruction, and I worked it. And I had both feet in the world. And, you know, I always would hear this voice, this little still small voice inside saying, you know, you can always come back home. And I just ignored it. I believed that God was real, but I didn't think he was good. That was the problem. And even as I've gone through my healing process, I've continued to struggle with some of these ingrained early experiences and what they caused me to believe about God. So when I graduated from college, I ended up in a mental health clinic working with 5 other women who just happened to be born-again Christians. They were all from different faiths. Some were Catholic, some were Lutheran, some were Protestant, some were Pentecostal. But they started inviting me to things, and they started loving on me. And I just had never felt that kind of unconditional love, especially from anyone in the church. And so it just melted me. And I ended up going on a retreat with them, and I ended up just admitting to God that I wasn't living my life right. And as soon as I admitted that out loud, they prayed for me, and my life started to change from there on out. I was a single mom at the time. I had an 8-month-old baby, and I just started hearing old hymns playing in my head, almost like the Holy Spirit was up there with a record player, and he just kept putting one record on after the other of those old-time hymns that I used to sing in church. And little by little, the Holy Spirit wooed me back into a relationship with Jesus that was safe, and that was predictable, that was helpful. He started to reparent me in amazing ways through other people, through other programs, in my job, because I continue to learn so much from my patients every single day. They teach me as much as I teach them. And so I just fell in love with Jesus at that point, and I started to just kind of take everything in that I could get. And, you know, there's a whole lot more to the story of my season of destruction, but I don't like to give that too much glory. Since then, I've just been walking strong with the Lord, and every time I have an emotional flashback, which I still do, he just helps me understand that it's okay, because that is pulling that pain up and getting it up into the surface so it can be healed. So he wants us to participate with him in the healing process, and he wants to be there, right there, because he was there all along, but we just didn't know it. So now that we know that he can be there, we reach for him, we look for him, and I look for him in everything, every day. So everything that happens all day long, I'm always looking for a sign, a sign from the Lord. Are you in this? And he gives me little signs that are just like little kisses from the Holy Spirit. And so he has never let me down. Sometimes he shows up a little later than I think he should in situations, but I think you guys can all attest to that. So now I don't know how I would have healed without that presence and without that influence, without that leadership, without that education in my life. I don't know where I would be in my healing process or in my life. So just wanted to share that with you because it's so precious to me and it's been so helpful. And so in the end, I believe that God is real, and now I believe that he is good. So I'm going to put some little exercises in this chapter, in this week 18, for those of you that are interested in just exploring this idea a little bit further. And for those of you that are not interested in that, that's perfectly fine. Please reach out to me with any questions. And again, I'm just so thankful that you came to this course, that you put the work in, that you showed up every day, and that you benefited from it, and that you're in a better place now than when you started. All right, God bless, ladies.